Good morning, everyone. We're ready for our next webinar. It's that time. This is Frank Porter from the Paciello Group. It's my privilege to introduce our next presenter, Char James-Tanny, who has more than 30 years of experience as a technical communicator. She will be presenting this session. She speaks around the world on topics including accessibility, help authoring concepts and tools, social media, web standards, collaboration, and technology. Char is the primary coordinator for the annual Boston Accessibility Unconference and a member of the Boston Accessibility Group, and was a Microsoft MVP from 2002 to 2013. She has written 4 books, so we're very pleased. We can now give our attention to Char, and you have the floor.
Thank you, Frank. And hello, everybody from whatever time zone you're in. Now, I know everybody knows we're not supposed to assume anything, but given the time of day, wherever you are in the world, and given that you're here, I'm going to assume that you actually want to know some stuff about Word. Microsoft Word is a really powerful application. Authors use it to write books. PhD students use it to write their theses. Organizations use it to write specifications and standards. But its design is definitely for the more basic user, the initial design. A grandmother writing a letter to her grandchild. A high school student writing a term paper. I have a junior in high school. I see this a lot. An elementary school student creating a science project. So I'm going to show you some options for making it easier to use Word to create accessible documents. While the information in this session applies primarily to Microsoft Word 2000, many of the pieces of functionality will work with Word 2007 on Windows. I do not cover Word for the Mac because, as I learned really quickly before CSUN, Word for the Mac is not accessible. So there aren't a lot, not every option has a keystroke, it doesn't work well with screen readers, etc. So hopefully all the Mac screenshots have been removed at this point. When you first open Word, what you see is basically what looks like a blank piece of paper, thus that whole ease of use. It's for people who are old, it looks like a piece of paper that would be sitting in a typewriter. For younger people, it's a familiar representation. So you get this blank piece of paper, and with Word 2007 and 2010, we went to the ribbons. And the ribbon, I like the ribbons. I'm pretty much the only person in the world who likes the ribbons, but I like the ribbons. But here's the problem. The home ribbon, which is the one you see first, its primary functionality doesn't help anybody. The group to the left is for the clipboard. The group to the far right is for copy-paste, finding and replacing and selecting content. But the really big chunks to the mid-left are the font command group and the paragraph from command group. And if you're going to create an accessible document in Word, you should never use these. You should use styles, which are here in the quick styles toolbar. The problem is, of course, that everybody goes for these because they're right there. They're real easy to get to. You want to change the font, just select text and change the font. You want to change the font size, same thing. You want to change the alignment, no problem. And of course, this is where you end up having problems. So what we're going to start with is, oh, sorry about that, setting your Microsoft Word options. And to get to options on 2010, it's File Options, it's Alt-F-T, as in Alt Frank Tom. And I didn't put up the general box, mostly because I never do anything there. The 2 boxes that I'm most concerned with, the 2 options I'm most concerned with are the display options and the advanced options. These are going to do things that make Word easier for you to see what's going on. And the first one I do is I select this show all formatting options. And I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it's here. And what that does is it turns on paragraph markers in the Word document. Some people don't like them. I do, because I get documents from people all over the world and they don't use show paragraph marks or show all formatting marks. So as a result, I can see with these formatting marks where they've put in extra paragraph marks, where they've used line breaks instead of paragraph marks, where they've used tabs to try and align content. So I kind of really like that option. I also choose update fields before printing. This means that should I forget to update the fields before I send a document to print, and that includes PDF, Word will automatically update those fields so that I don't have to worry about having a bad link when it goes through. The rest of the options are over here in editing, and some of the ones I do are controversial for people who are technical communicators or editors, but they're the ones I like. I choose prompt to update style, which is here. This means that if I accidentally click something and don't pay attention, Word's going to say, do you really want to update this style? Rather than just do it and make changes to a document that I didn't want. I also tell it I want to keep track of formatting. And keeping track of formatting is going to show me every place where somebody decided they didn't really want to use a style and they went for those font or paragraph options in the command group. So anybody who's ever sent a document to me and gets it back with changes, this is the stuff I'm using to figure out what's been done. I also tell it to mark formatting inconsistencies. And this lets me see all sorts of funky things that can happen in a Word document because it shows me exactly where anybody has done these overrides and exactly what overrides they have done. A few other options I do choose is I prompt before saving normal template. And that's just, again, so if I make changes that I didn't realize I was making, it tells me and I can reject them. And one of the advantages of Microsoft Word are these nifty options under cut, copy, and paste, where you can tell it how exactly you want the formatting to be controlled when you copy and paste information within a document or from other documents, including things like an email or HTML or whatever. It'll grab those. The marking formatting inconsistencies, this is what shows up when I turn them on. And this is actually from a document somebody sent me, and I forget exactly which one. But you can see that they started with body text, but then they decided in some places they wanted it to only be 6.5 point. Other places they wanted it 7 point. They changed the before and after spacing on it. They've centered some, they've bolded some, they've bolded and italic some, they've just italic some, they've changed the margins. The reason this all helps is that I can, it's not showing up in this box, is that when you mouse over this styles box, there's a little arrow that shows up. And when you click that arrow, it will tell you how many instances there are. Now this one was an easy one. This only had 3 instances. But it means I can select all 3 and then apply the correct formatting to it. Now, in my case, I actually assign styles for bold and italic. So when I select all 3 instances, I just have to hit Control-I, which automatically applies my italic style. And now that line will disappear from that styles list. Next up, using a template. You want to make sure you use a template when you're working with Word. Now, Word comes with a perfectly good template called Normal. Has a lot of normal things floating around in it. The problem is that if you make changes to your normal template and somebody sends you a document based on normal template and that document has been told to update all of its style definitions, then it's going to adopt your normal template settings onto that document, which means you could be sending back a document that looks completely different than the one you got. So you use custom templates, and this prevents a lot of these overrides. You want to make sure that you create this custom template. You can store it anywhere you want. By default, it gets stored on Windows users, /users / your username / app data / roaming / Microsoft / templates, which makes it almost impossible to kind of find. What I do is, because I create a lot of templates for different projects, because I create a lot of templates for different clients, I actually store the template in the appropriate folder so that I can get to it quickly. And this way, I can double click the template to create a document based on that template, or if somebody sends me, one of my clients is famous for losing my template when they send me stuff back. And it's just because they have people all over the world working on it and not everybody always gets the right template. I can easily just apply it to that document and all the styles are updated to match the definitions that I use. But in order to get to a template in Microsoft Word, you have to enable the Developer tab. Now, in the screenshot I showed you earlier, let me bounce back really fast. You can see the Developer tab, the Developer ribbon here. And that's because once you enable it, it stays enabled forever. To enable the Developer tab, you have to go back into Options and tell it you want to customize the ribbon. And when you first do it, this little checkbox is open. So if you click this checkbox and then click OK, the Developer tab shows up. And this gives you options to what they consider developer functionality. And most of the reasons that nobody wants to turn it on is because most people using Word are not developers, and they figure it's for those people who are developers. And the Developer tab includes things like your macros, if you're using them, add-ins, way you can add forms and fields and functionality that way. It's also where you can get the document, you can assign the document template. Now you can actually assign the document template by going a really long route if you don't want to turn on the Developer tab. But again, it's through File Options and it's under Add-ins. So it takes like 9 clicks to assign a template versus just hitting Developer tab and opening up the templates dialog box. So I kind of prefer the Developer tab. By the way, if you are going to be in there anyway and making changes to the ribbons, you might also want to, oh, I lost the screenshot on this one, I believe. You can also, in this group here under Home, you can click Font, and then the Remove button will be active. You can remove it, and same with Paragraph. And what you end up with is a Home ribbon that doesn't have those two groups. The thing is, while it'd be awesome to be able to send that to everybody in your company, it's a Word option. So everybody has to do it individually. But it would cut down on the number of formatting overrides. When you get to the template and add-in dialog box, this is where you select the template you want to use. Click Attach, navigate to the folder where it's found. For this one, for any of the documents I produce for sessions that I give, I use my own template, and I tell it to automatically update styles. Now, some people freak out about this one because it's like, oh my God, it's going to just update all the styles if anything's been changed in the template. But really, all it's doing at that point is making a Word template act like a CSS file with HTML. When you modify a CSS file, as soon as you refresh the HTML page or open it, the changes are automatically reflected. That's all this does. So it's not really a bad thing. It just sometimes seems scary. So of course, once you get into your template, you want to make sure you optimize your styles. And I create all sorts of styles. But I try to, it looks like a fairly long list, but it's the ones that are most often used by the documents I work with. And I work from the concept that, first off, I never use normal, which is why in this styles list, normal is in red, and it says normal, do not use. And that's so people will look at it and go, oh, I'm not supposed to use that. Red is to make it stand out, because any other style that is sitting on normal will automatically inherit that red. So if you suddenly end up with a document full of red text, it's because you've got things sitting on normal. And if I really want to get kind of creative, if I'm not sure who's going to be using a doc and I want it to really stand out, I actually will change the font from Calibri to Comic Sans. And that's sort of an internal joke for technical communicators who mostly hate that font, but I think it's a fun font to use. And it's always at least interesting when you see it in a styles list. Now you're probably wondering, why not use the normal? Well, it's because anything that's based on normal ends up going back to the normal template, which can create a whole set of problems. So as I said before, if you use normal template and you pass a document around, it's going to start adopting the functionality of the normal template for the system it's sitting on. And in this case, we don't want that. We also don't want any of the styles to go back. And normal dot dot is opened every time you launch a Word document. There's no way around it. Because when you first open Word, Word automatically loads normal template and any of the information that is in there. So we try to get it to avoid normal. So when I create templates for clients and when I create templates for various things, I create 4 base styles. One is called body text, and that's what I use in place of normal for the most part. One is called heading base, and this covers all my headings, including things like title and subtitle and any place where there might be something considered a heading. List paragraph. I used to create list paragraph, and now Word includes list paragraph. I just use it as the base for all my list styles. And then I also have a base style called TOC base, T-O-C, and that is used for my table of contents. These base styles include just some basic information of a style, not everything, because any other style I create off them has to be customized off it. But what it does include is the font family and a default font size and the font color. And if I'm going to use, typically I use line spacing of, I think it's 1.15 lines. That's just a default in Word now anyway. It creates a nice leading that makes it easier for people with visual disabilities to be able to read. It means your lines don't get too mushed together, no matter what font size you're setting. That takes care of that. For every style, you do want to make sure that you correct the style based on and the style for the following paragraph. Style based on is what those 4 base styles I use. That's where this comes into play. And the style for the following paragraph is what happens when you type something in Word. So let's say I type some text and I say, oh, you're a heading 1. When I press enter, the style for the following paragraph is used. And because I always follow headings with body text, I put body text in for style for the following paragraph. And this saves me from having to reassign styles as I'm typing, so I can move through kind of quickly when I'm creating content. If you're working on a template and you want to follow these tips and you need to find every place you've used normal, you can mouse over these little indicators and it will tell you what style it's based on, and you can do it through the whole list, or you can cheat. You can use File Print, select PDF for your printer, but under the Settings dialog box, choose Styles. And what that does is it produces a PDF of all the style definitions in the document. And then you can use Find and just use Find to look for normal and see where it's used so that you can reassign it. Now, one of the other tricks I do is I customize the quick X. Oops, I'm into color contrast. Oops. Okay, when you're designing styles, don't forget to check your color contrast ratios according to WCAG. You want to make sure that they meet the ratio of 4.5 to 1, 3 to 1 for large text. Tanaguru is a new color contrast finder that came out, I heard about it right before CSUN, so it's been several months. And they actually now have a Firefox add-in, which is really cool. What's nice about Tanaguru is that most color contrast checkers, you type in the codes for your foreground and background color, and it tells you whether or not it works. What Tanaguru does is takes it like the next step further. You say you want to use like a dark green on a light green, and you want the minimum ratio to be 4.5. You can use the component to edit option to select which option you want to use when trying to match colors, and you can tell it if you want a range of valid colors or very valid colors that are very close to the initial color. So when you click the box that says, when you click the button that says check and find contrast, not only does it check the initial color combination you put in, but it then starts doing all these combination matches, keeping the foreground color, keeping the background color, so that you can find a color combination that is valid that you still like. So it's kind of cool. I don't know why we have another using styles box here. Sorry. Oh, just to tell you some other things. This is the kind of arrow that appears when you mouse over the paragraph mark. And you can do things like update list bullet to match selection. In other words, you have formatted some text and you want it to be list bullet. Instead of going through all the dialog boxes, you can just update it. Once you do this, however, make sure you modify the style and tell it to add it to your template, because otherwise it will only apply to this document. And if you have selected update all styles automatically on the template, it will actually go away. So you want to make sure you keep it. Here is the select all 85 instances. So I can select them all and I can make them list bullet 2 or list alpha 2 or list alpha or whatever list they're supposed to be. I can clear their formatting. I can get rid of the style completely by reverting it to list. And this option at the bottom is a toggle, which says remove from quick style gallery now. That means it's in my quick style gallery. If it wasn't in there, it would say add to. Now, one of the other things you can do is clear formatting. So if you want to clear paragraph formatting, you select the content and press Control Q. And that gets rid of all of your paragraph formatting. If you want to remove character formatting, you select the content that you want to remove the character formatting from, and you press Control Space. So Control Q for paragraph and Control Space for character. And this lets you return everything down to whatever its original style definition was. Do be careful if you select the whole document and do this, because you're going to wipe out all the formatting, all the character formatting throughout the document, which might not necessarily be what you want. To get to the styles list, on the home ribbon, there's a little down arrow in the bottom right corner of the quick style toolbar. That's called a launcher. It's accessible also by keystroke, which is Alt plus H and then FY in order. Or you can just do Alt Control Shift S, and that toggles this styles list on and off. Unfortunately, it doesn't remember if you like to keep it on. So every time you open a document, you have to re-enable it and tell it to turn itself on. You can also control what styles appear in that list by setting the style list options. Now, at the bottom of the style list is this options dialog box. So when you click or tab and activate options, you get this screenshot. First option is select styles to show. The options are in current document, recommended, in use, and all styles. Recommended, I don't know who exactly determined the original recommended view, but they're really not very logical. You can, if you want to spend a lot of time, go into one of the styles formatting options and assign a priority to your styles, and that will control what shows up in recommended. But that's like way too much like work for me, so I ignore that one. If you do in use, it only shows you the styles being used, which doesn't help you if you're creating a brand new document, because you're going to start with just like body text and that will be it. And the only styles you can get to are the ones in the quick style toolbar. The other option is all, and all will grab all the styles that Word has ever defined for a document, typically stored in normal, which means the list will be so long you will get lost. So just go with in current document, which grabs the styles that have been defined in your template. The next option down is select how the list is sorted. I'm a big fan of alphabetical. The other options, again, as recommended, or you can sort them by font. You can sort them by what style they're based on, and you can sort them by type. So like your headings will be together, your lists will be together, etc. For me, I want to be able to scroll quickly in the list to find the style I'm looking for and not try and remember what the organizational pattern might be. Alphabetical works easier for me. I always just turn these three options on: paragraph level formatting, font formatting, oops, there we are, and bullet and numbering formatting. And all this does is, again, it works with keep track of formatting and formatting overrides to show me where there's issues. And when you make the change, tell it you want to do it for new documents based on this template. For some reason, it doesn't always take. I haven't quite figured that one out yet, but most of the time it will remember that these are the options I like to use. And then here is the initial quick style gallery. And what this does is it makes your most commonly used styles available for quick access. The problem, of course, as far as I'm concerned, goes along with my default window word stuff, which is it adds a whole bunch of things initially that aren't needed. For example, I removed the following styles from the quick style gallery: normal, no spacing, title, subtitle, emphasis. Subtle emphasis, intense emphasis. I don't actually know how much of a distinction there can be. It's emphasis. Same with quote and intense quote, subtle reference, intense reference, book title, and list paragraph. Now, you might be wondering why I remove things like title and subtitle, which I probably use. I do use them, but I only use them once. So I don't need them in a quick style gallery. I can select them from a styles list. What I want up here are the styles I use most often, which would be body text, my 3 base list styles, so list bullet, list continue, and list number, and my 3 heading styles. And when I get really creative with some documents, I actually add more to it depending on what I'm doing. I let the document drive what it is I need to do. To add or remove styles, numerous ways to do it. If you want to remove, you can just right click over a style in the quick style gallery and remove shows up. If you want to use the styles list, it is one of these options here, remove or add to quick style gallery. You can also do it through the style definition box itself. It actually has an option of add to quick style gallery. So, and you can play with this. This one is template based, so it will remember it according to the template. And so therefore you can keep customizing it to get to what you need it to be. And by the way, all of these things are accessible by keyboard. One of the other things I do is I assign keystrokes. Now, by default, Control-Shift-N assigns the normal style. That would be the style I don't use. Excuse me. So what I do is I tell it I want to add a keystroke to body text, and I put in Control-Shift-N. And therefore, if I decide I want to just assign body text quickly, I can do Control-Shift-N. Control-Shift-N is a built-in keyboard shortcut in Word. In addition, Heading 1, Heading 2, and Heading 3 also have built-in shortcuts, which are Control-Alt-1, Control-Alt-2, and Control-Alt-3. Control-B and Control-I will automatically trigger bold and italic, but they're the bold and italic as defined by Word. So while they are legit, they're not styles, and I prefer to use styles. So I will pull up my character style bold, and I will assign Control-B to it. I will pull up my character style italic and assign Control-I. And this way, whenever I hit Control-B or Control-I, I am assigning my style, not just using Word's default. It also goes back to that whole styles list, marked formatting overrides. Anytime I see something like body text plus bold, it's a place where it doesn't use my style. I can select all of those, hit Control-B, and they are applied. You can do this with any styles that you use a lot of, so you can assign your own keystrokes. Do watch out. It will tell you if it's currently assigned to something, and you have to decide if you need to, if you really want to override that definition and go with your new one. You can also update headers and footers. If you can use a mouse, you can just double click in the header or footer area, and that will pop it open. On this screenshot, I actually show the field value doc property category. And what this is doing is it's grabbing the property value category, which is where I usually store copyright years. And this means that for any time when I get documents in and it needs a new copyright year, I can go to File, and then over on the right-hand side, look at Properties, update the category to the proper year, and when I update fields, my copyright year has been updated throughout the whole document. You can also do this with any of the other information in that in the properties of the document. If you need to use a keyboard, you can use Alt plus N H E for the header and Alt plus N O E for the footer. And then you can just insert fields. If you want to update fields, here's where you do want to use Control A. You just press Control A. That selects all of the content in the document, and then you press the F9 key. And you might have to hit your Yes, Use Function key option if it's on your keyboard to make sure that F9 actually updates all fields. This goes through and updates all the fields in the document. It doesn't update the headers and footers. So in order to do that, you need to get into the header and footer area. Again, Control A, again, F9. Or you can just switch to draft view. For some reason, if you do view option in Microsoft Word and select draft, and then do Control A F9, it will update the headers and footers, which I don't know, it just seems weird to me, but that way does work. Now, in addition, there's also a quick access toolbar. It's in the upper left. And again, this is accessible by keystroke. By default, this quick access toolbar only contains 3 options to begin with: save, undo, and redo. But because I like using styles, I actually add the classic style gallery up here. And I do this because if you see here in the document itself where my cursor is located, it's located in a note. I can just look here and see that it's in a note because this styles list is not dynamic. Older versions of Word before 2007, they were dynamic. If you clicked in a paragraph, it automatically kind of floated to the style that was assigned, and so you could eyeball it very quickly. Can't do that in these versions. So if you're in a paragraph and you want to see exactly what style is been assigned, style has been assigned, you can click and then just go up, and then you can see it. I also add language, and that would be because, again, I do work with a lot of people who work around the world. I edit specs for a global client, and they're worked on by people who live in England, France, China, Japan, Germany, Switzerland, and several other countries. And as a result, when these guys open these documents on their system, every now and then Word says, oh, well, you're French, so you must want this to actually be in French, and it changes the language. And once you change the language, that changes the spell check. So words that are spelled correctly in English but that are being identified as French are now going to be caught by a spell checker as being spelled wrong. So I only have that up there just so that I can make sure that we're all using the same language. If I start seeing that I've got some language overrides, I do Control A again, and then I can hit the down arrow and select English US, which assigns it to the entire document. And if you want to use it by keystroke, you press Alt up arrow, and that gets you into the quick access toolbar. And then you can tab over to customize and where you can add these options. One of the things I also suggest, if you're using keystrokes, you might want to rearrange the order of these, because if you want to verify the style that's been assigned rather than have to keystroke into the quick access toolbar and then bop through save, redo, and undo, I would put the styles list first. And that way it reduces the number of keystrokes that you have to use. There is a link for using keystrokes, and when this stuff is made available, the link will be made available. The good news is at least the keystrokes, unlike the instructions for how to use Word, are much better. You also want to work on setting up your page layout. One of the things I hate these days is going through a PDF and finding blank pages. Back in the old days, like 25, 30 years ago, which really isn't all that old, anytime anybody was publishing a PDF, if it was back then, but when we first went to online and PDFs, people were printing them, and many times people were printing them duplex. People had printers to print duplex in their offices. That's changed. If anybody even prints a PDF these days, they pretty much never do it duplex. There's only special situations, and you would probably know about it. So instead of starting a section on odd page, which is what we used to do so that we matched book publishers, so that every new section or chapter or whatever started on an odd page, change it to new page. And this gets rid of those blank pages when you push to PDF. You also want to make sure you sent decent margins. And the things that are listed here is the margin for the header and footer. Margins, the first tab margins is where you set the margins for left and right and top, regular top and bottom. Now, one of the options that Word includes under the View tab is navigation pane. This used to be called Document Map in Word 2007. And this Cliff Tillich first told me about, and I hadn't been using it up till then. I was like, if I need it, this sort of thing, I'll just use Outline. And it turns out this is much more fun to use, and it's much easier. It appears in my system, it always appears to the left. That's because that's where I docked it. What it does is it shows you what is essentially the outline of your document. It uses heading styles to determine the structure. Heading 1s are on the far left, heading 2s come in, heading 3s are in another. Wherever your cursor is located, that's the one that's highlighted. So right now I'm using the navigation pane in the document I'm looking at, or what I was looking at when I took this screenshot. And if I want to move quickly to another section, I can just click it and I immediately pop to that point in the document. The other advantage is, back when we only had outline, you could move things around by grabbing the plus signs. But typically, I don't know, I never did it right. So I was always grabbing, it was kind of like splinching if you're familiar with Harry Potter. I would get pieces of things, but not necessarily all of what I wanted. In this navigation pane, I can select an option and I can just drag it where I want it, and the whole chunk moves along, which makes it much easier to reorganize. And this is available by keystroke, but I'll tell you, I worked on it for a while and I had a little bit of issue trying to I couldn't get the keystroke pattern down exactly. I do know that if you want to get to it, you just keep pressing F6 until it's active. And if you can, when you tab to the up and down arrows that are directly above the list, they will take you to the previous or next heading, which is one way to get around. To make sure that your headings show up on that navigation pane, you want to make sure that it's the heading level, the outline level that matters. So whatever, I must be in a heading 2 at this point because the outline level says it's level 2. And that's what you're looking for. The outline levels go from 1 to 9 to match headings 1 through 9 in Word. And please don't ever use 7, 8, and 9. Think of it as HTML. And even if you're playing with headings 1 through 6, don't go further than heading 3, heading 4 if you absolutely have to. The other outline level is body text, and that's used for all other kinds of content. In addition, at the top of the nav pane, we actually have the search box. If you press Control F to find, or you just hit find in the far right option on the home ribbon, it just takes you to this box. And when you type in the word, you just have to type in the word. You don't even have to press enter. What you get are the number of matches, and the darker yellow highlight is where my cursor is currently located. The bright yellow is a place where I will also find that word. But in addition, this has to be one of the best features in Word 2010 ever. The third tab shows you the results. And not only does it show you the results, but it bolds the word that you were looking for, and it gives you the content around that word. So that if you're looking for something, like if I was verifying here that navigation was initial capped where it was supposed to be, I don't even have to go in the document. I can just quick scan this list and see that here I missed it. Really, if it displays a navigation pane, the pane itself, that should be initial capped. If you give too many results, this box will actually say there's too many results. You can go back to the outline tab and use the arrows, which in this case will take you through search results, not the next heading. So you can still bop back and forth. Document properties, which I mentioned earlier. Obviously, I've got some things a little out of order. This is the full document properties. There's a little option that gives you, it shows you some of them. At the bottom, it will say how much, if you want to see them all. Notice under categories, there's my copyright statement. I can also grab the title. I can see what size the document is and how many pages and how many words, how much time I've spent editing. I don't actually know if this means active editing time or time I've had it open on my system. It's kind of always hard to tell. You can also add other pieces here, and you can put in your company name. All of these pieces are accessible through fields if you want to drop them into your document. Now to fill in, now I've told you all the pieces about how to get Word to create accessible documents. What are you going to do to make sure your content is accessible? You are going to do things like assign headings. If you do images, you're going to make sure images are in line with text, because if you try to position them, they become inaccessible. You're going to make sure that you use the insert table dialog box to set your tables, and you're going to make sure that when you have a table, you set the table row, the header row, by selecting repeat. I don't have a table in here. The repeat header row option. Personally, I'm just always in favor of really clean styles, which would be why I don't like having font overrides. And at this point, we have time for questions.
Yeah, I'm looking through right now, Char. I have one question. I'm not sure of the context. Are they easily accessible by speech recognition software? I'm not sure what
That was, crap, Gary, can you pop? Oh, there we are.
There we go.
Correct, yes, not all disabled people are blind. I try to cover as many as I could, but basically some screen readers do identify most of the stuff in Microsoft Word. I actually did some playing. The quick access toolbar, I believe. Window Eyes doesn't tell you what the style is if you are going into the quick access toolbar, but NVDA and JAWS will do it. And oh, speech recognition software, my apologies. You know what? I didn't test with that. I don't know. I do not know. I assume you're talking something like Dragon? Speech recognition? Can you give me a name? Because then I can find somebody and I can ask them to test for me. Okay, I'm making a note because I have a friend who uses Dragon and I will ask him. Hang on, not looking at the screen right now.
Yep, I'm trying to help you here as well, Char. There was also a question, are these training materials available for future reference?
They will be. At this point, I now have them in 4 different versions, so it's really a question of trying to get them into one version that's cohesive. John, yeah, I was gonna. That's the note I wrote, was to send Eric an email because he's the only one I know who uses Dragon that I can reach out to.
There's another question. Folk wrote, new to this idea of accessible documents, there's a lot of info in this presentation. Where is a good starting point? Changing the default styles, any recommended fonts?
A good starting point is start using styles to when you're go through a document you've created and assign styles to your content. Make sure you have headings, make sure you have list styles, make sure you have decent styles. If you see that you're missing styles and you've used font overrides, create a style that meets that need. One of the things you might have noticed in the list styles box that I displayed was that all of them were related to functionality. So I don't have any styles called red or big red. I have them for what they do, not what they are. And this way I can change them. For example, if I was to set up a style called big red font paragraph, and my client said, but you know what, we want it to be green now. Well, now I'm stuck because my big red paragraph will be green. So therefore, I need to know what it's being used for, and that way I can give it a decent style name. So warnings, notes, whichever. Ooh, Paul Jan has stuff. So you want to start with that. If you are just getting started with Word, just play with normal template for now. You can still customize those styles and you can take care of it. The thing with normal, the really cool thing about normal is you can screw it up royally and then you can blow it away. You just go find it on your hard drive and you can rename it or you delete it. And the next time you open Word, Word will give you a brand new normal ... So you can't actually go too far wrong playing with normal because you can always get back to what it should have been. And if you ever get error messages that say they'll actually tell you that there's your normal ... has been corrupted, you have to do this anyway. You just delete normal and start over. So start with that. Look for any information on the web written by Microsoft Word MVPs, most valuable professionals. There are several out there that maintain huge websites with lots of information for things like setting up templates and doing this kind of stuff.
Awesome, Char. I don't see any more questions posted. I did send out a written invite for any other questions, so I think we're good
We'll
at
see.
this point.
If you want to follow up, I'm Char JTF on Twitter. You're welcome, John. You finally made one. Feel free to tweet me questions. At some point, I will actually get this information. Like I said, I've got it in multiple versions just because sometimes it's only about getting Word to work better. Sometimes it's about creating more accessible content. I actually have one document that combines them, and I have one document that not only combines them, but includes information on how to do it on the Mac wherever possible. So hopefully eventually I will find time to do my own blogging, but we will get this stuff available. And this presentation will be available when TPG makes the rest of these sessions available.
Very good. Thank you so much, Char. That was awesome, and we appreciate your part of this exciting day that TPG is hosting.